Hi class, here's a quick walkthrough of your turn exercise for the correlations lecture. Now I've set up my environment by setting my working directory and then opening up and attaching my dataset, which is the mindfulness Excel file. So I've read that into RStudio and then have attached that dataset. Now I'm assuming that you may be borrowing from my code, and so what I've done is to just make a copy of the code that you downloaded from Canvas. But in this instance though, you want to be careful because the code that you have from the lecture will contain the wrong variables. Namely, the one that you want to replace is the awareness variable, because that is not the question you're trying to answer. In this instance, you're trying to do acceptance. And so you will want to run correlations between acceptance and stress. And so here is a two-tailed version of it. Let's run it together. And then you might see this p-value and you might be wondering, what is this? Now you might remember from a short while back that you can actually get this to be translated. And you might remember the format function. And so you can do format. And so when I'm running code in the console, it will run, but it's not going to save that work. And so in your instance, you may wish to just add the format. But just to give you an example, you might remember the format, and then you just say, turn off the scientific option, and then it will write it out for you. And so that would be the p-value associated with your analysis for the two-tailed test. Now, I would encourage you to think about, what type of one-tailed correlation are you running, if any at all. But in any case, if you're thinking about running a one-tailed test, you will want to use the format where you have an alternative statement. And so let's say acceptance would be one variable, and then the stress would be the other variable, the outcome variable. And the question was, is acceptance negatively associated with perceived stress levels? And so you are expecting correlations to be possibly negative. So that is what you're testing. And so in order to do that, you would use the alternative statement less. And so you can run that as well. And that is your one-tailed hypothesis. So true correlation is less than 0. And so you're trying to see, is that the case? And once again, if you're curious about getting this translated, you can also use format, and you can just hit up arrow if you like to just recall a prior function. And so I just did that, replace that number, and then hit return in the console to run it. But I think by eyeballing the fact that it's e to the negative, you probably got a sense that it's going to be a very, very small p-value. And so there you have it. Hope this is helpful, and please make sure to ask any questions you may have. Take care and talk to you soon.